Welcome to the Hooked on Diesel podcast, presented by Dirty Hooker Diesel, the final authority on Duramax performance. I'm Paul Wilson.
I'm Tony Burkhard.
And we're kicking off episode number 1 here. So, Tony, we are in your guys' brand new facility up here in Harbor Beach, Michigan.
Yes.
Now, my understanding is you are 25 years in business this year.
Correct.
Okay. I thought for our first episode, we could kind of let our viewers and our listeners in on a little bit of the history of Dirty Hooker Diesel. Can you get us started? Where did this all start 25 years ago?
It really started, I wanted to do a business, right? Everyone wants to have their own business, right?
Sure.
So, leading up to that, I'd done a lot of repair out of my own garage in town, right? A few letters from the city that says you can't be running business out of your garage. And so, and I was just doing automotive, small engine, motorcycles, snowmobiles, four-wheelers, all that kind of stuff. There was a bicycle shop that had been out of business for a few years, and they sold lawnmowers and service bicycles, and they also had a pool table accessories and dart accessories. Anyways, it's a 2,000-foot building, right? It's 20 foot wide by 100 foot long, non-insulated, wedged in between half of it was wedged in between some other buildings. So it was right downtown. So I start selling and servicing small engines. It didn't take very long. Next thing you know, I'm working on boats and cars out of this little shop that I couldn't even get a car in, or I couldn't get a boat in. I'd work outside, right? And a hot summer day, working on a boat, usually I worked on boats like after 11 o'clock because inside a boat, the tools are so hot, the sun's cooking on them during the day that, one, you can't hardly breathe inside the boat, let alone the tools just are so hot, right?
Oh, my goodness.
I worked on them all night long, fixing and doing whatever I needed to do on the boats. So my schedule was 7 o'clock in the morning till about 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but I did that for a few years. And when I was hobbying with a little bit of firewood or doing a few things, right? I also had some rental equipment, an excavator, and then I buy a dump trailer. Well, I had a Tahoe, and I was pulling this dump trailer that was built for a dump truck with this Tahoe. So I'm like, I got to upgrade this, right?
Yeah.
So I want a full-size pickup, and it needs to be a diesel. And so that was the very first Duramax that I had, a LB7.
And this is like 2001, 2002?
It's actually, good question. It was 2002, 2003.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was my first diesel-powered pickup. I did have an old Monte Carlo with a diesel in it, but that was horrible. So I bought the pickup. Oh, great. I could pull a dump trailer now, right?
Yeah.
And one of my customers coming in and, man, you really should put exhaust and intake on that and a tuner and go pull that at Ubley, a truck pull in the locals, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah. And I'm like, man, it's a lot of fun. Well, my truck pulling experience goes way back to 1992.
Okay.
When I started truck pulling my S10 in local events. And I was beating up on all the full-size pickups.
Oh, really? With the S10?
Yes.
Okay.
I was, in the local class, probably the most hated, right?
Okay. Yeah. So, I'd imagine the S10 beating up on full-size pickup trucks is a good way to be the most hated. Yeah.
Yes. So I had some experience, a little bit, with truck pulling. And so I did that. I did the tuner and I did the exhaust and put the bully dog in it. And, well, of course, you always want more, right?
That's, yeah.
So then I stacked it. And I tell you, I still remember the first night going out, loaded up with buddies and beating the snot out of it and wondering why I didn't have reverse. So I really don't have to explain that to too many people, but it was in lip mode for sure. But boy, did it have the power. And it was strange because we stopped at a party and shut it off and going back out there and, oh, I got reverse again.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. Amazing.
So then people started asking me questions, and at the time I was working with Bully Dog, helping them with now developing programmers, tunes for their customers. Even had a Bully Dog transmission.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard of a Bully Dog transmission.
Yeah, they and I actually, if I remember correct, they were actually Inglewood probably built them.
Okay.
Right? But every tranny was actually put in a truck and they test drove it first.
Oh, sure.
And then pulled the tranny back out and shipped it to them. That's a lot of extra work. So people start buying. Now, next thing you know, I'm hooked up with Bully Dog and I'm selling some Bully Dog parts, and that started to grow. And when I went in these local events, and then next thing you know, I should be joining the association and then pulling, and by 2005, this building across the road from where we're at right now come available, and it was a big jump. I went from 2,000 to 22,000, right?
Yeah.
And my main focus still is small engine, some rental. So I go to this big building. I got all kinds of room. I'm storing campers and boats and all kinds of stuff in that building, right? You know what it's like now. I can't hardly wedge a lunchbox in there, right? So in 2005, moved to this across the road, and that diesel business really started growing. 2005, I got my pewter truck that's been all over the place, right?
Sure.
And pulling that a few years. Next thing you know, now I'm going to start trailering it. And I wanted a name for that truck in the worst way. But I wasn't quick to jump to something, to the Max, there's all kinds of different names it could have been, right? I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and I said, I need a name for a pulling truck. And he's like, well, check out some boats, go down to the marina. And I said, I got right in town, and marinas.
Yeah, sure.
But actually, I got a boat in the shop that I'm tearing apart. I'm going to haul the hull to the landfill and pull the motor out of it and use the trailer. I walked around the back of the boat, and it said Dirty Hooker. And he says, that's it. So what's really crazy is the name of the business. I was trying to name the diesel part of it. And I had all season service and sales, diesel performance. It's so long and you can't hardly abbreviate it. And all season service and sales is asses, right? Who wants to? So, and it's crazy. Here I'll tell you how I'm a little slow, right? So I have Dirty Hooker on the side of my truck for a few years, and and I'm still running the name of the business, All Season Service and Sales. Well, and I should change the name of the business or add to it or something like that. And it actually took customers saying, well, take it up to that Dirty Hooker guy or whatever, right? Go to that Dirty Hooker diesel shop. Dirty Hooker diesel. DHD? Duh.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I can't believe it was actually on the truck before it was on the business card.
Oh, for a couple of years. Yeah, for a couple of years. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I really something to brag about.
No, but it is. It's that natural progression of where you can see that this started out of passion for the industry, passion for what you could do with the trucks, not passion for how quickly you could sell parts or buy parts and move them out the door. It seems to be a genuine kind of stumbling across the way that it happens organically of like, well, I got the truck because I needed the truck. That's everybody's story, right? There's everybody watching this got the truck because they needed the truck. And then all of a sudden it turns out it's like, well, I want to have a little bit of fun with the truck. So you put a tuner on it and an exhaust and an intake. And then you're like, well, I want a little more. So you do something stupid like stack them, which back then didn't really know how stupid that was, right?
Well, but that was the only way.
That was it.
So that was before EFI Live.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of steps in growth, like I get ATS's had a lift pump directly feeding the CP3 to try to get a little bit more fuel, right? Some of the first injectors that I had, they were micro EDM'd 2-hole or 3-hole, right? I mean, the only balancing they ever thought about was let's weigh the injectors. You know, I mean that's as close to a balanced injector as you're going to get. So a lot of progression. So I had received the very first PPE dual fueler.
Okay.
Right. And at the same time, Mike Tomac received the very first ATS dual fueler. And we both got them at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And getting the dual fuelers and getting them on, and also at that time, learning about EFI Live. So now Mike Tomac and I both are learning how to tune our own trucks, right? Never seen this stuff before, and now we're figuring out how to tune our own trucks. And there's a lot of learning for us. Obviously, we didn't design EFI Live or the dual fueler, but we were the first ones to take them out and beat the snot out of them. We had quite a bit of. I worked with PPE also. Worked with Joe for quite a while on actually some of the tuning that he had between Bully Dog and EFI Live, and then I was working with PPE on some stuff. So that was when I had gotten it purchased. Well, I'd never purchased. I leased the 2005. I leased all my pickups, and I finally bought out the lease of the 2005. So I'm changing trannies and exhausts and intakes and tuners and everything else on lease pickups, right? They kind of frown on that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I didn't tell them. And I don't think it'd do any good to tell them now either. So I worked with those companies, and I'm pretty close with them, right? And so moving into the new billing, 2005, and it took a few years, and then started doing it as Dirty Hooker Diesel, and building a business from there. One of the big milestones, or I was always posting my results on forums, right?
Yeah.
So Facebook really wasn't even a thing yet, right? So on all the forums, and I was always posting results and everything else. And so every year with my 2005 truck, I'd pull the motor out, freshen it up, and that thing was sold in a couple days when I posted on the forums, right? Because people saw what I was doing, how it was doing, it wasn't breaking. I always taking first place. So it was an easy sell. Every year I built myself a new motor for that thing.
That's so cool.
One of the things that most all of us do in this lifestyle is buy a truck, then we start adding things on it. We get hooked on performance drag racing or truck pulling. Next thing you know, your trailer and your daily driver, right? That was the only pickup I had. And next thing you know, I'm putting on a trailer and I buy a gasser. Well, the gasser didn't last very long. So then I had to buy another diesel to pull the...
Yeah.
Now, that 05, after it's been in all these competitions, I changed out the rear axle. I never did cut it up. It is back to, I take the kids to school.
Goodness.
Oh yeah, it's a nice truck. And I still compete in street class. So I backed off of what level I compete with.
Okay.
And so I go around and clean up in street class with the thing, and I take the kids to school in it, right?
That's so wild.
You'll see me driving it here this summer.
Yeah.
So
you still have the 05.
Oh yeah.
And it's still street driven.
Yep.
Still normal truck.
Yep.
That's so wild. Because, I mean, where I know DHD from is from a high level of competition, right? Is being at the top of the classes, having the best sled pull truck, having the fastest Duramax, and all of these other accolades that have come. But it's so crazy to see how quickly things progress, right? Is like you... Started off in 2000 with a business, renting some stuff, doing some equipment, things like that, small gas engine, doing some repair. And then all of a sudden it snowballs into needing a diesel and then competing with a diesel. And all of a sudden you realize you're like at this limit of like reasonable human decision making of like, okay, I still have kids and I have to take them back and forth to school and things like that. Okay, so you kind of dial it back there, and then DHD, I'd imagine, starts to grow, right? So what kind of product line do you start to come out with? What was some of the first stuff that you were selling on a regular basis?
So I would just pay attention and see what I needed on my truck to help its pulling ability and competition. And so I make a part and I'm on these forums and I'm like, oh, I made this. And then next thing you know, hey, can you make me one? Okay. And the next thing you know, I'm in production.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a little website. So the website, crazy how small I was at one time, right? When I opened the shop, I was all by myself, and maybe I got my stepmother and my mother to come in and sit at the counter a little bit, right? My mom did the books, so it was pretty simple to do the books, right?
Sure.
And I moved to this new shop, and I had a part-time employee, and now I had a full-time employee doing the books, and right. So now I have one full-time and a part-time, and I started a website, and I'm putting products on the website. I'm filling orders and shipping, and I'm working in the back and fixing, renting equipment, whatever, selling lawnmowers up front. I was right.
Yeah.
So, that's all snowballed. So things in my life snowball like that, right? So, my little hobby of firewood, right? Just another example. I mean, I remember running a chainsaw, and I must have been like 10 years old or something. My dad, it's a little skill saw, right?
Yeah.
We had a 10 or 12 inch bar on it. And that thing was a ripper, right? And I'm just a little kid running this chainsaw. And so we heated with wood. So I always loved wood heat. We always had other sources, but I always preferred wood.
Yeah.
Every place I lived or whatever always had wood heat. If it didn't, I put it in as, it wasn't my only source, but
sure.
Even the shop across the road is wood heat, right? So just the furnace kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So the firewood did the same thing. I mean, I enjoy going out cutting for myself. And so I was, hey, can you get me a face cord of wood? Yeah, all right, I'll get you. This is just weekends and holidays and Mother's Day and things like that I go cut wood, right?
Yeah.
Then a big step, I got a 45 horse tractor so I could drag logs out, right? And I had that dump trailer that I was renting or hauling some little bit of wood with. And so I move up to a skid steer and a tractor, and it's still splitting by hand with a log splitter, and get a few more orders. The next thing you know, I'm renting a processor from a friend of mine because he was getting into the firewood too, and he rent a processor, and I'm like, I can't be renting his processor like this. The next thing you know, I buy a processor. I've gone through like 3 log skidders, and I got a big forwarder. So I got a really nice skidder and a forwarder. And where we were working, we were still cutting trees down by hand, right? And now I have a tree processor, and it's like, it's snowballed. This is my hobby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, some people have just hobbies. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, something that you don't have to work at all weekend long, every weekend, right? And I keep telling my wife, a couple more years and this ash will be all cleaned up here, and I'll be done with it, and I won't know what to do because I'll have so much spare time. Spare time is so valuable right now, and I need to back things off a little bit because I need to spend more time with family. Family is so important. And
Sure.
Wife was gone with so we have foreign exchange. We had a foster kid we adopted, plus she has her 3 kids. I have my 2 kids. We love kids. Last night, she come home with a puppy, right?
I already have 2 dogs and a full zoo in the house. Yeah, came home with a puppy.
I love my wife. I just keep telling myself, I love my wife.
I think this is that good kind of behind the scenes for the viewers, right? Of like understanding that, like, when you guys see a Dirty Hooke or diesel truck, just know it's not a corporate, smash and bash of like, hey, how many of our parts can we throw on here so we can market it and we can sell it? This is driven by passion. I mean, that's the only way to keep this lifestyle going of like, it was just a hobby and it snowballed into DHD. We're now Ultimate Callout Challenge champions, Engine Builder recipient.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, Engine Builder of the Year. Like, this stuff, it takes that drive, it takes that obsession behind it. Why stick with it at this point? Now you've hit all the accolades. Like what else is there left to win or to get within the industry?
So funny you brought that up. I mean, you see on the wall, my two boys, right?
Yeah.
I want to build this, make it successful, for them to be successful carrying on the business.
Okay.
We strive on quality. We want satisfied customers, happy customers, right? Even the motto of all season service and sales, where service comes first.
Right.
I want to take care of your stuff, keep it going over just selling you something. So, a little dry here.
Yeah, no. It is interesting you bring that up because obviously I've met Tyler and Seth. I've interviewed Tyler a handful of times. Your boys are intimately involved in the business.
So Tyler's really heads up the whole transmission program. And I taught him how to build trannies, well, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that. I haven't touched transmission in a long time. And then Seth is building the motors. He's in the engine room.
Yeah.
So just every motor that goes out of here is Seth's work done. It's between Seth and Evan, every motor those guys have worked on. So it's really important for quality. And sometimes they let me answer the phone, right? And I'll take a sales caller. Even after hours, I can't let the phone ring, right? I pick up the phone and I might not answer it Dirty Hooker Diesel. I might say hello, and usually they're like, oh, I ordered this. Can I cancel? Can I add to it? Or where's it at? Or a good one. I order it next day here and it's not here. Well, UPS let you down. So I guess these people will call for technical advice, and I usually talk them out of something that they don't need.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I'm not going to... If you really want to buy it, I'll sell it to you, right? Do you really need it? Probably not.
Okay.
This would be... You might want to do this first, or this will help you more. And hey, I'll tell. Sorry, I couldn't talk you into spending a ton of money on this. And they're like, "Oh no, we really appreciate the fact that I'm being honest, right?
Right.
I'd rather have a happy customer and lose a sale than have frustrated customers that I didn't tell them the whole story, right?
Sure.
The truth about what they're doing, or whether they're doing what's right or wrong. And I get a handful of people every year come up to me and they're like, I want to buy a diesel. What should I buy? And one of my first questions is, what are you going to do with it? Right? Are you buying a diesel because you want to make it your sports car? Or are you pulling something all the time? Or are you just buying this for a daily driver? Because if you're buying it for a daily driver, you're buying it for the wrong reason. It's going to cost you a lot of money to maintain.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is, what brand it is, whatever, the maintenance on that. And usually someone buying their first one, they're normally not buying a brand new one, right? So they're going to buy something older, and it's pretty heartbreaking when they buy a Duramax, drive it for a week, and the crankshaft breaks.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, LB7s need injectors. Well, by the time you pay for injectors and replacing the injectors, man, you could have bought an LS motor for your gas truck, right?
Right.
I mean, you could have bought a whole motor,
Right.
and they'll last how many miles? So make sure when people buy a diesel that they're buying it for the right reasons. I just couldn't imagine that. It'd be heartbreaking. I've had some customers. Last year, there was a guy bought a truck, compounds on it, beautiful looking truck. He didn't even drive it 100 miles, and the motor had to come out.
Oh.
He already spent every penny he had in buying the truck.
Yeah.
Okay, so now he needs to build the motor. Now, so between the wants and needs, so he wanted a built motor to go with the compounds and everything else, right? Really, all he needed is to be able to drive the truck because he already spent his last penny. But he took out like 3 loans, different loans just to get the motor going, right? And if you can't afford it, don't do it.
It'll drown you. I mean, that's the thing about diesel is like it is. Yeah, if you can be at the top echelon of diesel, it's amazing, right? Like it's there's nothing better. There's nothing that's more fun. There's nothing that's cooler than seeing a 4,000 or really should be 8,000 pound truck ripping down the track or tearing a sled through the dirt. Like, I get it.
Or mopping up Corvettes in town, right?
Yes,
You know?
yes. It's so cool. It's so much fun. But man, if you're not prepared for the other side of that, for the downside of that, for when things go wrong, it really will drown you financially. I mean, you have to know what you're getting into.
So when the kids start building their pull-in truck, I'm like, why don't we find $1,000 truck and let's build that, and you keep your nice truck streetable and reliable, right?
Yeah.
And we'll just build the hell out of this piece of shit. And if the piece of shit breaks down, no big deal, right? You can still get home. You can still take the kids to school, and
you still have a functioning vehicle you can make a payment on. Yes.
So, even though I have that theory, I've struggled a little bit with my boys to try to bring that common sense to them, you know.
Well, listen, if you want to be badass and you only have one truck, I also get it. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it's an idea. It's hard to argue.
But don't be mad.
Yeah.
Don't be mad if your truck's down, you know. So anyways, I guess that fills you in a little bit. I guess I could expand a little bit more on us moving across the road and our expansion.
Yeah. So this is what I've seen. So I just came on to Dirty Hooker Diesel last week. So this is my second full week here at DHD.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited to be a part of the team, excited to launch this podcast, which we're doing video and audio. So if you're listening to this, just know you can jump onto the Dirty Hooker Diesel YouTube channel and be able to watch the full episode. Me and Tony are actually sitting in the new facility. So you've built 2-3 buildings right across the street from your current building.
Yes.
And now you said the current building's 22,000 square feet. It is packed to the gills. So all seasons runs out of the front. There's a machine shop. There's a fab shop. There's a full service repair shop. And then there's a clean room where they're building transmissions and engines and everything is very tightly packed. So you guys just started to expand across the road. So can you talk a little bit about this expansion project?
Well, it started a couple years ago, and I just knew I needed more room. And so this was always for sale. The price wasn't reasonable. The price never really got reasonable, but the necessity of it and the proximity of it, some things that I did is I went from 1 building to 4 buildings. And someone say, well, why would you do that? Because it's pretty cool having everything in one building. It is kind of cool, but there's downsides to it, right?
Yeah.
We're here before business hours, so that's why you don't see anyone or it's quiet, right? Having the sales staff in one building with guys running impacts and air hammers and them banging on metal and the scribing steel and all that noise going on, needle scaling and all that, while the sales staff is trying to talk.
From a sales background, absolutely unacceptable. How dare you make noise while I'm working?
So I says, well, and we always have dust and dirt. We're bringing in vehicles and the cement's always dusty. And so no matter what, all the parts are dusty and the computers are, man, when we clean them things out, they're always dusty. And so going across the road, I wanted order fulfillment. So we have this beautiful showroom. We're working on filling. We just last week got a permit to be in here, so we haven't even put an open sign on the door yet, right? So the sales staff, it's nice and quiet in here. It's clean. We can have our stuff in here. And then we have receiving, which is the next room over. All the receiving comes into that room, right? Before, come in the hallway at the shop and everyone, their brother's walking by and they're stopping, looking at boxes, wasting time and unorganized. You know, here receiving comes in, then it moves to order fulfillment. The shelves over there, order fulfillment. There was stuff on those shelves. Some of the stuff's been there 15 years, right? And it wasn't in the computer. So how could we sell it or know that we had it if it wasn't in the computer?
Yeah.
So when we moved over here, there's a lot of stuff we found, right? And someone would say, wow, that's not good management. Well, you're right. I started this business as a mechanic, not as a business owner, right?
Yeah.
I want to fix people's shit and build stuff. And so I wasn't a business person looking for an industry to get into.
Sure.
So
this was passion. This was organic. Yeah.
So we went through, we moved, our move, very calculated. Chad had been through a move with his previous company he was in, and he said it was a total nightmare. And I'm like, all right, it's your baby. You tell us what we need to do. So we scheduled a day that we were going to move. I worked with some of the guys and we moved some product that wasn't a high volume product.
Okay.
And for the week prior to our move date, and when the move date come in, we told people online that we're only filling next day air. That was on a Friday. And we told them also on Monday we might not be filling orders other than next day air. We were filled all orders on Monday. So I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
The employees, there's some that worked all weekend, pitched in and got us going. We still have, I always figure 80% is easy move in, clean job. The other 20%, that 80% we did in 3-4 days. The other 20% is going to take a year to go through.
That's always it, right?
So, which needed to be done, and we have it more organized and a much cleaner process. And the employees aren't being interrupted by other employees or a good one for order fulfillment was kind of in the center of the shop. And when they get a pallet of goods, it had to come through the welding room, through the engine department. And it was horrible because we're so busy. Things are always jam full. We're working on and try to get packages in and out. We're still not done yet.
Sure.
Our next goal is the engine building, engine and trans, and then our freight out will be from that building instead of going through the welding room and interrupting those guys, right?
Yeah.
And having separate buildings, the engine and trans is going to be clean too, right? We're not even going to do tear down there or any machining in that building. It's all going to be back across the road. It's just going to be assembly, the building just for assembly. And then we have our fab shop. And those guys can make as much noise and dust as they want in a separate building, right?
Yeah.
And not having those buildings connected, a downfall because it's not all in the same building, but also employees can work more efficiently without interruptions. They can make as much noise as they want, or be as clean as they want, or be able to talk on the phones without noise. I think the efficiency is going to be more than pay for itself.
I like it.
And we have brand new equipment coming over to do our block work all in-house. That'll be here this week. So it's quite a jockey trying to set up these buildings and move and build more. It's
yeah. I know the engine simulator just showed up last week, so got that up. It should be up and running here shortly.
Shortly, yes. We have to get the 3-phase to that building, but we're waiting to get the sewer and the water and gas to these buildings, and our holdup was a pump-up station. We have to have a pump-up station, and that pump-up station should have only taken 8 weeks, but instead it was like 10 months.
Oh, no.
So then when it did show up, it was the middle of winter, right?
Yeah.
And you have to dig a big hole, and you can't do that in the springtime because there's so much water. So that's going to go in this week, right? And then between this week and next week, we'll be able to get 3-phase in there. We really want to have that sim machine running up. So every motor that we build will go on that sim machine, and we'll validate oil pressures, we'll pressure test coolant systems, and we'll be able to do a compression test on all 8 cylinders if it's a complete or log block or whatever.
Yeah.
And we added a few extra sensors so we can watch cam and crank, make sure cam and crank correlation is correct, make sure we can count the teeth on the reluctor, read on the computer to make sure that we don't have, it's happened a couple times unfortunately, but the wrong reluctor wheel.
Sure.
And so we'll be able to monitor that, and it'll have a noise sensor on it, so we'll be able to pick up any gear train noise, or if anything isn't quite right at a noise level, we'll have a sensor to monitor that also, right? So we want the best going out. And I think our warranty on like our motor builds is, I thought 0.03%, right? Or something.
It's insanely low.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So
Okay.
we strive at
Making sure it's right the first time. So when you're putting it in at home, it's a done deal. It's not something you have to worry about. I love that. Guys, if you would like to see a full tour of all of the buildings, all 4 buildings now that exist for DHD, leave us a comment on YouTube or shoot us an email over at media@dirtyhookerdiesel.com. I'll be monitoring that inbox myself as well as the YouTube channel. So feel free to leave a comment on there. Let us know if you want to see all the shops. Maybe one of these days I'll walk around, I'll do a tour of the whole facility and let you guys see kind of behind the scenes at DHD all the way through. I think that'd be fun. Tony, I think for our first episode, this is pretty extensive. I think we went into a pretty good level of history and kind of understanding of what DHD is all about. Definitely thank you for joining us, guys. This is going to be a weekly show, so you'll be able to check back every week and see myself and Tony, or maybe some of the other guys here talking. And then we're going to start lining up some interviews here for the future. So let us know if there's somebody in the industry that you think Hooked on Diesel should talk to. For today, I'm Paul Wilson.
I'm Tony Burkhard.
Thanks for watching or listening.
Yes, thank you.